Want to update your home decor faster than you could drink your cup of coffee this morning? Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Amanda with Sweet Pieces, and today we are going to update a piece of home decor. So I chose a lamp today, and it's a fun lamp. So I have a pair of them, and they have these cute little burlap shades, and they're brown. And even though brown is kind of coming back in, I'm kind of feeling like they've been hanging around here a little too long. So let's give them a little update. So I'm going to do this with a 2-color dry brush. I'm starting with my favorite Jolie furniture paintbrush. And this is a color called Eucalyptus. It's the most gorgeous shade of green. It's a really, really pale sagey green, super pretty. It's kind of like a gray green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my brush and I'm just going to get a little bit of paint on there. I don't want a lot. And I'm just going to start, kind of covering this up. So I'm calling this a dry brush, but this first coat, I kind of want it to be a little bit heavier because I really want to get rid of like a lot of that brown. The nice thing about these lamps, which is perfect for a dry brush, is that it has a little bit of texture to it. So anytime you're doing a dry brush, you either need to have texture or you need to create texture. And you can do that so easily with the Jolie paint just by like exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of, punching it on there. And this is going to dry super quick. I mean, this is going to be so fast. Now, you can do this faster by just dry brushing one coat. And I think what I'll do is I'll do the other lamp just to show you what that dry brush is going to look like. So you could see, I mean, you could literally update this in like 4 minutes, which is so fun. So if you notice, I didn't even do anything. I mean, I might not have even like wiped the dust off of these things. I just went right at it. And honestly, if you're doing something like this, that's home decor, perfect opportunity to be super lazy because this isn't something that's getting touched or, it's not going to get sat on. You could do this with picture frames. You could do it with decorative boxes or trays, things like that. Obviously, if you're doing anything that is going to have food in it, you want to be a little bit more precise and careful with that kind of stuff. But for something simple like this, I'm not kidding. Before your cup of coffee is done, and if you drink coffee like me, where I literally sip on the same cup all morning long and reheat it 79 times, then you could definitely get this done. Okay, so there's my first coat. I'm going to let this dry. It's probably going to take about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes for this to dry. You could even throw a fan on it if you're really impatient to get it to dry. And then we'll be right back with step number 2. All right, so we're back and we have our base coat of eucalyptus. It's pretty much dry. I still see a couple of little wet spots, but that's okay because remember, I'm half lazy. So I started with my Jolie paintbrush. And this brush is fantastic whenever you're doing either furniture or where you want a little bit more coverage, because take a look and see how dense the bristles are. Whereas this chip brush, which is what I'm going to use for this second coat, this is clearly not a quality brush. The bristles are splitting, the hairs are kind of all over, but that's what I want for this dry brushing technique. So where I went a little bit heavier with that first color, the eucalyptus, this one I'm going to go not quite as heavy at all. You can see I'm really taking that paint off my brush. It's just here on my tips. With a dry brushing technique, it's always easier to add more paint than it is to take it away. So you're better off starting with as little paint as possible. So now I'm going to just take this, and because I have texture already on here, like when I'm doing this dry brush, you can see that the paint is catching on the top and the texture that's underneath is staying. It's staying that base color, which is my eucalyptus. This is also a great way if you have an accent color in your room to tie that accent color into your home decor and your accessories. by just having it be like the underlayer. It doesn't have to be the whole entire solid piece. But see how I'm just very lightly, we call this like the kiss. You're just like kissing the top of it, and see like all of this dotty texture that's in there. It's staying because I'm just getting my paint on top. Super simple. So I'm just going to continue. And the other thing that you want to keep in mind is my wrist is really loose right now. I'm not like really stiff. Maybe like have a glass of wine. Get a little loose. You don't want to be super stiff. You want to just be really loose with this. And you just kind of go around. I mean, we should have set a timer. Super simple, super easy. You literally can do this. I mean, with a cup of coffee in your hand if you want. Like sometimes I don't want to put the coffee down, so you don't have to. And again, it's really easy to do something like this when it already has texture. If you're starting with something that does not have texture, you can create texture with the Jolie paint, which is another amazing thing about it, just by using a heavy hand. So in that case, you wouldn't be using a chip brush. You wouldn't be using a 2-inch chip brush. You would be using your Jolie furniture paintbrush, this guy here, and you would be laying that paint on fairly thickly. I'm doing this because it has that texture on it already, so I don't want it to really have a brush strokey kind of a texture. I want it to have more of this texture that was already on here. You would not be doing it smoothly like you would normally do with a normal paint job. You are like lobbing it on and kind of going back and forth to create that texture, which is so easy to do with this paint. And I just want to kind of reiterate, all chalk paints are not created equal. Just because it says chalk paint doesn't mean that it can do all the same things that our paints can do. So if you try this with latex, you are not going to have fun. You're going to be like, what was she talking about? This just is not making sense. That's because all chalk paints are not created equal. So there is something about this paint. It's so easy and fun to use. You can layer, you can texture, you can dry brush, you can distress it. It is your friend. It's so much fun. Okay, I think I got it. I mean, how fun is that? How fun is that? And then I have this cute burlap shade. So totally modern, totally farmhouse. Love it. Easy peasy. If you're not following us on Instagram, why not? You better be. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. You want to know what we're doing. We have so many fun, exciting things going on here at Sweet Pieces. If you're lucky enough to live close to us, come and take a visit. It's totally worth the day trip. We get people that come even from, Westchester and sometimes like slightly upstate New York or Connecticut. We would love to meet you. We can't wait to see you.